Hi guys, it's Claire. Welcome back to my channel. I finally got my camera gear rigged up on the wall in the new studio, so I thought I'd film a process video for you today. And I'm actually going to be doing, not scrapbooking, but we're going to be making a card. It's Sophie's birthday today, so she turns 17 today, and I've got to make a birthday card for her meal this evening. So I'm going to challenge myself to do something a little bit different. I'm working with this card, which is a basic white card blank. It's 7 inches by 7 inches square. But what the challenge is, what I want to do is use this scrapbooking kit, this Simple Stories scrapbooking kit, to make the card or to decorate the card. Now this kit I've had lingering around in my stash for a long time. It's called Simple Stories Heart. It's meant to be for if you've lost someone that you love. So it has all these lovely words, you know, I'll miss you, love you forever, goodbyes are not forever, that kind of ilk. However, I haven't used it for that. I've managed to use some things in the past just for different scrapbook layouts, but I've never used it for what its intention was. And there's just, I'll talk you through what we've got left. I'll sort of flick through. We've got a double-sided 12 by 12 sheet. We've got this sort of almost a whole sheet left. Whoops. Got this cut apart left. It's still got some nice hearts and florals and things on there, but this has just been sitting sort of in the bottom of the kit box for a long time and not used. And I love these colours, and I know Sophie likes these colours as well, so I wanted to try and just use it as patterned paper and make a birthday card from it. It could be a complete fail, this might not work at all, but we're going to give it a go. We've got some of the stickers, some little tiny odd bits. And I've also got another sticker sheet here that's got the whole alphabet on there. I haven't used any of that. So I could do happy birthday from here. I could get, she's 17 as I say, so I could get the 17 from here. I could obviously do Sophie out of that. I don't know. The only other thing I've put to the side of me here, 3 other things. These gold hearts that I quite like, they tie in nicely with the gold in there. I've got some Heidi Swap wood veneer words only because I like this today, so I might do like 17 today. And the same with this one, I pulled in the glittery gold Heidi Swap words and they've got the today, and also those hearts are quite nice, so I could use that as well. So basically this is my mission, is just to make a birthday card out of these bits here. Underneath, if you saw, there's some plain white as well. Just grabbed a couple of bits of plain white cardstock in case I need to pull that in. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to speed you up through the process and then talk, just film a voiceover afterwards, because when I'm creating I know I don't get to say a great deal. I concentrate on the card and I'm not going to speak to you. So yeah, so I'll do a voiceover which we'll cut in now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make some layers for my card base. So I'm moving my card base out of the way, and I'm grabbing the plain white cardstock that I had, which I've cut down 2 pieces of that are 5mm smaller than my card base size. And I'm now cutting pattern paper to go on top of those. So using the biggest pieces of pattern paper that I had left over from that kit. So I've got one with the stripe on there and one with the dots on. I'm now going to make some smaller layers to go on each of those. And these are just an odd size rectangle. I just from that white cardstock and using pattern cardstock to make smaller layers to go on top of them. So you'll see in a minute that I use the striped one or the plaid one on top of the dotty paper and the opposite on there. And I then do again another layer. So cutting white first, then patterned paper. This I think is the back of that dotty paper, gives me this buff colour dot, and so I do 2 little rectangles on there. The reason I've got 2 panels here is because I'm going to use one for the front of the card and one for the insert or the inside of the card. And now I'm flicking through the cut apart sheet and I find this 6x4 cut apart that's just basically a journaling block. So I cut that out and decide that I'm going to use it for the insides. That's where I'm going to be writing the word in to Sophie. And then I'm looking through again, seeing if anything else takes my fancy, and I like that 4x4 cut apart, this one here, the floral, which has got a label on the front, and I decide that's going to be the main front panel on my card. That's going to have the sentiment on the front of the card. So I move the inside one out of the way and work on the front. I decide that that needs some white around there, so again I cut some of that plain white down just to put a white border around. I then rummage through the cardstock again, and I'm trying to find florals. I want to build up clusters of florals on this card, and all I can actually find is 3 tiny little flowers that are whole or that haven't been cut into previously. So I'm cutting those out. You'll see I've got a black one, a blue one, and I use the yellow one from the piece behind. I'll speed you up obviously through this bit, but you can see that as I'm cutting this, I don't move my scissors a great deal. I keep my scissors as still as possible in my right hand, and my hand is actually resting on my desk, and then with my left hand I'm turning the floral paper around, so that's the bit that's doing all the movement, and I find this way gives you the neater finish. Now I'm not sure if this is going to work at this stage because I've only got 3 tiny little flowers, but I decided to still go with this. I know that I want to have some leaves to go with those flowers, so I pop all those aside and I grab some dies that I've got, which are my favourite things. They're called Fab Foliage, which you can see just here. They're a set of 5 little dies, and I use these all the time. These are brilliant little leaves, and so I cut these out of some white cardstock and also out of some more of those from the cut apart sheet. So I get some that are still in that minty green colour, and you can see them off to the right there. Now these are my 2 panels again, so front and insert. I've brought them back in, and I'm going to start sticking everything together, or deciding where I want it to go. You can see there that I switch. I want the front of the card to be the one with the plaid background and not the dotty background. And that's the bit for the insert. I actually trim that bit for the insert down because I decide that the black and white stripe, the border around the edge, is a bit too bold. So I'm now trimming that off, and it comes back there just with the gold around the edge, so that it's not quite so bold, and it fits slightly nicer inside as well. I do add another little white border around that just so that it matches everything else that I've done with the white borders. So again, working back on the front of the card. It's time to just start adhering everything together. So I'm using my usual gun, which is my Scotch ATG gun. I wouldn't be without this. I absolutely love it. It holds fast, it lasts for ages, it's brilliant. And just popping those layers, no measurements, just sort of eyeballing where I want them to be, trying to get even gaps from side to side, but keeping them quite, quite loose on there. I'm now mounting the front panel, so the main part of the front of the card, onto a piece of card, so that it's a little bit thicker and it gives a bit more dimension. You could obviously use foam pads at this stage, but I prefer to use pieces of card. And I don't buy that card, I just recycle it from envelopes and things that I get, in the post. So that's the front of my card all stuck together. And I've decided I'm definitely going to use that today, that Heidi swapped today. And I pull off the 1 and the 7, obviously to make the 17 for Sophie's birthday, and I stick that on the label that's there, or the 4x4 cut apart. And I actually double that up. I can do the 17 twice from the numbers that are there, so I put them on again just to add a little bit more dimension so they don't look quite so flat. I then stick the today on, and I'm using some Aleene's Fast Grab tacky glue. And just pop that on the back of the wood veneer. I find that glue works perfectly for wood veneer, and it holds nice and fast. So just positioning that exactly where I want it. Okay, then I'm going to start to put my flowers and leaves around the card, and I'm just, again, I haven't measured anything, I haven't sort of overthought about this. I'm just placing them on there and hoping that I've got enough really to fill up the front of the card. The patterns obviously make it look all quite busy, so it looks quite full already. So I'm hoping that, there's enough to make it look okay.
I'm using exactly the same glue again. You only need a teeny tiny bit just to hold paper to paper. So once I've got my flowers positioned where I want them, I'm going to start adding my leaves in. And again, I haven't overthought about this, and I'm certainly not measuring anything. I'm just scattering the leaves in there where I want them to be. I'm trying to get them to circle around that front panel on the card, but they don't have to. They're just in there in a mix of colours, using some of the mint colour that I got from the cut apart and also the white, just mixing things up basically. Different leaves, different colours. And sometimes you don't actually see me do it, I think it's a bit off camera, but you'll see that I cut some of those leaves or break some of those leaves in half, so I don't always use the full lengths of them. Even though I die cut them all the same, I end up ripping them down if I need to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, now I lost a bit of footage here, but you can see that I used some more of those alphabet letters, or stickers, sorry, on the inside panel of the card to put happy birthday on there. I also used some more of the stickers from the sticker sheet to add some stars and some florals on the inside of the card. And I've gone ahead and I've stuck those gold puffy heart stickers on that I showed you at the beginning. So now all that's left to do is to stick the front panel on the front, and then stick the inside panel on the inside. One more thing I decided to add at the very end, you'll see in just a moment, is some pearls. I decided that the flowers were a little bit too flat and they were quite small, so I wanted to make them look a little bit bigger. So I got these pearls, or stick-on pearls and gems, from my stash and just popped 3 of those in the centres of the flowers. And again, it adds a lot more dimension, and it makes the flowers, gives the flowers a bit more emphasis so they don't look quite so small on the front of the card. But you can see that I've used a lot of those stickers from the sticker sheet and really filled this up. And once that glue's dried a little bit behind the flowers, I puff up the petals, again just to add more dimension.
Right, that's it guys, that's my card made. It's actually a really nice card. It feels lovely and heavy as well because I used that card in there. It really makes it feel like a nice solid card. I love that I've used this Heidi Swap word, and yeah, lots of dimension, really nice card. Hope you enjoyed watching me make it, and I shall see you again very soon. Take care, bye.